Get out of the vehicle.
I'm live on Instagram. You are being recorded and broadcast directly to 6 witnesses. 4 witnesses. 5, he's back 5.
I have so much to talk about with you. This is my favorite show.
Thank you.
So it's really, it's like not only a thrill, but an honor to talk to you. And I'm a big comedy nerd, and thank you for all the hard work you put into the show. It really pays off. Before we get into Hacks, I know you two have worked together for a really long time. And if I get my facts right, I think one of the first things you did together was make sketches for a group called Landline. Is that true?
That's right. That's right. You're going there. Okay, you are a comedy fan.
What were your first impressions of each other as people and as performers?
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I remember first impressions.
I remember the moment I met you.
Is that true?
No, I don't. I don't remember first impressions.
No, I mean, you know, we were the only kind of, so the Landline was kind of like a loose comedy collective, I guess we would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was but I guess Jen and I were the only 2 women kind of in the collective. So, but it wasn't exactly like a group exactly, but eventually we were no longer on the emails. So I think it was at that time where we had, I think we must have gotten along enough to like make some of those videos.
Yeah.
And then I think once we kind of were like not really involved anymore, I think we were like, we should still hang out. Or something.
Like, we had like a natural shared comedic sensibility.
Yeah.
So when we met each other, it felt like that made sense.
Well, the truth is that we both remember when she met Paul. That's actually true. So we all remember that meeting.
Yes. We like Lucia had been dating Paul and making videos with Paul, and I had known Lucia through the group. And so it was always like Lucia was burning together these two sides. We had a very iconic meeting in the 71 Irving coffee shop in New York.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what I do remember from making, now this whole interview is going to be about Landline TV. But what I do remember about Lucia that is like still like I remember we made this video where she played Janine Garofalo.
Yeah,
she has an excellent plays an excellent Janine Garofalo. Very funny. But I remember she was directing the video too, and I remember when she was directing the video when in the part that she was gonna be playing Janine Garofalo. I think she's on the toilet. That's what I seem to remember. Mm-hmm. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. Will you just kind of like direct me as I do this because I'll be directing myself, but I'll be in it." And I remember in the moment I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm going to fuck it, whatever. And it was the first introduction to what I think is so wonderful about Lucia as a collaborator is that she knows and believes you can do things before you know it. And I think Paul would say that as well, which is, and I remember that. And I always think about it because she gave me the confidence to literally just go, yeah, that was good. You did it. Let's go.
So I guess it's official. Jen Statsky directing episode 5 of Hacks.
Maybe I have to think back to this moment and know that I can do it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. We know each other a long time.
And we've been friends, we were friends for a while before we actually, like, I think truth be told, it's like we were friends. We wanted to hang out more. So we were like, we should write something. We should do something. And we actually ended up the 3 of us writing a feature before we did Hacks. We had the idea for Hacks, but we're kind of like slowly like letting that kind of be a thing. But then the 3 of us wrote a feature on Spec, but it was really just like as an excuse to hang out, but also to like be like, does this work? The 3 of us working together. And it was so fun.
Yeah. Super fun.
It was a summer. I think I want to say it was like summer of 2017.
2017. Exactly.
And
good memory.
We had just like so much fun, like waking up and driving over to Jen's like back house and like putting cards up on the board. And it was just like such a fun time that I think that's when we were like, okay, that idea for Hacks that we've been talking about, because it was always Hacks then. We were like, we should start getting on that. Yeah. And that's really after no one bought the movie. That's when we said, no.
Yeah, it's actually it. now that we're reflecting on it, thank God. No, what if somebody had bought that movie and then we went into production of that movie, Hacks wouldn't exist.
Yeah, or maybe not. It still would not. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. We wouldn't be here right now if somebody bought the movie, though we'd still like for someone to buy the movie.
Yeah, now we can make the movie.
You're like, let's circle back to the movie though.
Literally.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that explanation. That was really cool. Jumping into Hacks season 4, something that really impressed me this season was how long it takes for us to really get Ava and Deborah at a place where, you know, homeostasis, kind of like where we are used to seeing them for all these seasons. Was there a lot of talk in the writer's room of like, how long are we going to make the audience kind of work for this, you know, relationship to kind of come back together?
You mean kind of like in End of Six?
Yes, end of six. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always a balance. You know, season 3, we talked about when do they come back together? Like, what, you know, when do we do that? What will be too soon? What will be too late? And same here. You're always kind of modulating their relationship, and when does it feel real and authentic that this would happen, but also keeping in mind, like, how interesting will it be to watch and how fun will it be to watch? So it's a constant, like, figuring out of when it feels right and when it's the right time, but always like it's character first and story first, and we feel like we need to have the characters go through what they need to go through to get to the point where they're going to be able to finally come back together.
And luckily, I don't think it still feels fun when they're not together. Like your heart wants them to be together, but it's still fun watching them be rude and struggle and have that tension. So it kind of like, for us, it's like, it doesn't feel like it's not the show when they're fighting. It feels like it can be the show whether they're together or apart or on the journey in the direction of either one of those destinations. And they're always just temporary, aren't they? With these two wild chicks.
Was that the working title of the show? These two wild
chicks.
What? Pretty not bad.
It's not bad. I would watch that show.
Yeah, two wild chicks.
There's so many creative decisions that go into each episode. I'm just clocking them as I'm watching. Like, was like, for example, like, was the first sort of way Deborah was going to get back at Ava going to always be the underwear in the boss's office? Like, how many of these things shifted around?
Well, that one was definitely an early one.
That was early on, but we certainly went through a lot of variations of ways Deborah would try to get her fired, things kind of in this like mean prank torture zone. There was a lot. There was one of our it's making me laugh, right? One of our writers, Ariel Carlin, at some point where we're like, she was using it as like, I think just like a placeholder for a pitch. She was like, you know, like Deborah glues all of Ava's shoes to the ceiling.
She can't remember it.
She's like, it was a placeholder. Like sometimes when you're in a writer's room, you're like, you know, like something like that. But it then just made us laugh. So it still to this day makes me laugh so much.
I'm saying, well, when she glues her shoes to the ceiling.
Like that, which of course, as you know, we didn't have that happen, but really makes me laugh.
It's so funny if we broke into her house one day and then glued all her shoes
It's a great
good prank. It's good
style. But then you have to buy her like a new home and all her shoes. You do that.
A bit. Comedy gigs. Pay the price.
But yeah, we went through the writers. We all pitched on a lot of things like that. But pretty soon, we knew Panties was a winner.
Well, because it was like kind of funny, but also humiliating. You know what I mean? You could see it as like, that's actually really fucked up, but also you can be like, haha, you know? And so it kind of had to toe the line of being both.
Yeah. I like when Ava was just like, you know, George Clooney would do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
George Clooney and his pranks becomes a runner. You're not done with it yet. I'll tell you
that. Speaking of like recurring bits, you know, the Coyotes was very dark. Like it would really shift the tone of the show into like a really dark spot. And when did that come up in the writing process, that idea?
Well, it started by the fact that Paul and I really are being stalked by some coyotes. That's true. This is a true fact.
Yes, Paul and Lucia, where they live, like a canyon. There's some very intense. Like living in LA, you often hear at night coyotes attacking, and they have so many coyotes around them.
There's like a pack of 10 that lives basically just outside of our yard in like this like kind of wildish area. So like they are constantly killing things. So we're like ripping what we know, you know, from the headlines of our life. And that was like, but in terms of like how it was started to use as a metaphor and as like symbolism for Deborah's attackers and her, you know, feeling less comfortable in the wilds of Los Angeles was just something that kind of felt like it kept coming up as we were like writing. And it, I don't know, it just feels like this like omnipresent malignant energy.
Yeah. And it felt like Deborah would be feeling, of course, all these anxieties about the show and pressure and all her attackers, like Lucia said. And we wanted that to have some sort of physical manifestation in her world. And especially coming to a new, she says at the end of episode 2, LA, it's crazy with the Coyotes. Like, she's out of her comfort zone, which is Las Vegas. And so we wanted to make her feel as uncomfortable perhaps as possible. And these creatures that are, native to LA and LA people deal with quite a lot. We felt like it would be good to depict her having to confront them, and how would she deal with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a nerd. I love to watch the credits. And one thing that always strikes me every episode, if the episode itself didn't make me tear up, the credit song, the end credit song, always gets me. Who like picks that song? It's always eerily perfect to what happened in the episode.
A lot of people. Paul and Jen and I are often writing towards songs. Our editors play songs. Our music supervisor, Matt Biffa, often will pitch songs that end up in there. It really is. It can come from any place.
Yeah, it's a variety of people. I think we try to, all of our editors are incredibly skilled, like musically. So we try to employ people who I think have a natural inclination to that. Lucia is incredibly skilled musically. Paul, I think it is just like a natural, like baked into the type of person that works on the show that we gravitate towards. So yeah, thank you for noticing that and saying that. It's a big part of figuring out the episodes always.
And there's a couple episodes this season where we're still toying with the last songs.
That's I would say that's number one on the to-do list for today after this is figure out a song. So we hope we do you proud in what we choose.
Awesome. I'm sure you will. It's always like eerily perfect to the episode. I actually took out my phone. I'm like, I have to get the song. Like, what is
you actually, this is helpful. Are you talking about any episode in particular in season 4? Because
oh man, I wrote, maybe it was episode 2, maybe. It was
Queen of Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, Queen of Las Vegas is fun because they're like, oh, we're going to Vegas. Queen of Las Vegas is the end of 2, which is really fun.
Episode 3 is that Joe Egan, like, you caught me once.
Oh yeah, not my favorite, but it's good.
Bless the Telephone. Is at the end of 4.
That's 4. That one's really good.
Mm-hmm.
That one's really good.
Think of 5?
Yeah, what did you think of episode 5? Look it up really fast. Wait, what is it right now? Well, I don't know. It's a debate. We're still toying
with it, but glad.
And 6. That's not
that 6 is
6 is still up for grabs. But anyway, you're like,
but glad you're Shazamming it. Maybe it was the Chai Coltrane song at the end of the premiere. That's a very beautiful.
You used to be my
that was the one I wrote down right away, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm good. This season gonna be in. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Oh,
I love that one.
Well, it's just brilliant, and I have to wrap. But you two are lovely, and it was so nice to meet you and chat about the season. I'm so excited to see the rest of the episodes, where it goes. Congrats. Hope we talk again one day. You guys are awesome.
I hope so. Thank
you so much.
And
thank you for supporting the show and
Shazamming
and getting it.
Yeah. And watching online. Like and subscribe.